IONQ is a pretty phenomenal quantum computing company when you really think about it. Sure, they may be a smaller company with only 70 employees, and yes, they're not profitable either. However, with a company that's as young as IONQ, compounded with the fact that they're trying to solve extremely complex technology problems, not having any profits yet isn't something I'd be concerned with when looking at a company like this. What you should really be looking at is how much progress they've made and what their future projections are. So let's quickly go over IONQ's full year 2021 financial results, and then I'd like to get into a recent announcement where IONQ was named as one of Time's 100 most influential companies. So I want this video to serve as a quick and easy financial wrap up for IONQ in 2021, and also what they've accomplished in 2022. So if you're looking for a quick and comprehensive list regarding all these important topics, then you've come to the right place. So first and foremost, let's check out their financials. And since I know financials can be extremely boring, I'm gonna go over only the highlights that I think are the most important points that investors will want to pay attention to. Total contract bookings of 16.7 million for the full year in 2021. Total contract bookings of 1.5 million for the fourth quarter of 2021. Increase in total contract bookings guidance midpoint 47% from 15 million to 22 million in 2022. And on top of this, they also had a revenue of 2.1 million, which was a 31% beat for the full year in 2021. They had a revenue of 1.6 million in the fourth quarter of 2021, and they expect 2022 revenue to be 5 times 2021's top line. And even though they had a total net loss of 106.2 million in 2021, I think the most important thing here is that we see this number decrease over time while the number of bookings increases. So overall, IONQ's 2021 was outstanding. They more than tripled their initial bookings target, announced the world's most powerful quantum computer, and of course became the world's first publicly traded pure play in quantum computing. So honestly, IONQ has had an absolutely incredible achievement list in 2021, and at the rate they're going, I'm pretty sure 2022 isn't going to be anything different. And keep in mind, with the huge amount of growth that's ahead for this company, and the fact that the quantum computing industry really hasn't taken off yet, IONQ, relatively speaking, is still what I would consider in buying territory at the sub $15 price range. The thing with this stock though, is that it might be some time before we see some explosive growth again that we initially saw when this stock skyrocketed to the $30 range back in November of 2021. So overall, you need to look at investing in this stock as a simple investment in the quantum computing industry, especially considering the fact that IONQ has been making some huge leaps in the kinds of technology that they've been developing that seem to be huge steps in front of all of their competition. Which leads me to the next big announcement that came from IONQ on March 30th. So like I mentioned previously, IONQ was named as one of Time's 100 most influential companies for 2022. And simply put, all this ranking system does is highlight 100 companies that are making extraordinary impacts across the globe. And this is a list that comes out every year for Time. And I think at least at one point in time, all the major tech companies that we know today have been featured at least once on this list. So think of companies like Stripe, Netflix, Zoom, Chuck E. Cheese, Google. I think you get the idea. All extremely innovative companies that are really shining examples of pushing the boundaries in innovation and creative thinking. And the current president and CEO of IONQ, Peter Chapman, stated, IONQ is honored to be part of this year's Time 100 Most Influential Companies list. Time's recognition of quantum computing's impact and its specific recognition of IONQ's role as an industry leader underscores the viability and promise of what's possible as we usher in the era of quantum computing. So, in order to assemble the list, Time gathered nominations from every sector, ranging from healthcare to entertainment and all the way to transportation and technology. And all of these nominations were gathered from its editors and correspondents around the world, as well as industry experts. So while it does seem that technology is definitely a highlight on these lists, there are of course other companies that aren't exclusively tech-oriented, like IKEA and CVS. So what the Time editors then did, once they had their nominations in each category, is then evaluate each nominee on factors including things like company relevance, impact, innovation, leadership, and success. So not solely rated on innovation, but rather the whole enchilada, so to speak. So in the 2022 list, alongside other companies on the list, like the NFT marketplace OpenSea, to more well-known companies like Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, and Spotify, IONQ proudly sits in the New Frontiers category, which I think is pretty fitting, given that IONQ is a quantum computing company after all, where humans are currently just on the cusp of pushing the boundaries in this industry. So while I don't need any validation from third parties like Time to recognize the importance of why I love IONQ in the first place, it's undoubtedly a good feeling to know that IONQ is beginning to get the recognition they deserve. And I think this feature in Time will definitely put them on more people's radars. But aside from simply being a quantum computing company, which is more or less a buzzword, and the fact that IONQ is not the only quantum computing company out there right now, why exactly did Time decide to include them on their list? And to answer that, I think it's important that we look at what exactly IONQ achieved in 2022. So as far as technical breakthroughs are concerned, this year, IONQ introduced Aria, which is currently the world's most powerful quantum computer based on standard application-oriented industry benchmarks. They discovered a new family of quantum gates that can help accelerate quantum algorithms, which can only be conducted on IONQ and Duke University systems. They became the first company to use barium ions as qubits to further enable advanced quantum computing architectures. And lastly, IONQ was able to secure that manufacturing partnership with Pacific Northwest National Lab to produce barium qubits, which I can't stress enough the importance of. The fact that IONQ is able to secure their own supply chain for barium, especially in a world where supply chain issues are on the rise, this is a pretty significant advantage, especially given the fact that they're using the barium to literally create the world's most powerful computers. And another important call out here too is that IONQ is the only quantum hardware company with computers accessible on all three major cloud providers, those being Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. And if that wasn't enough, its computers are also being used to tackle problems ranging from financial modeling to electric vehicle battery chemistry, all the way to risk management. So bottom line is, if you're a business that wants to get an advantage over your competition, it's going to be companies like IONQ that are going to be providing those kinds of business clients with the speed and accuracy of quantum computers, which in turn allows those businesses to gain an advantage by being able to overcome difficult technical problems much more easily. So yeah, definitely some pretty cool stuff going on here. Hopefully this video was informative and helped to shed some light on just the sheer amount of progress that this company has made over the last year. Thanks as always, and I'll catch you next time.